Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is a market update here, midday market update, doing this Wednesday during Paul's on doing the Market Munchie show. I'm in the office, but we're going over the markets all day. The last 3 days have been calling this market spot on for this pullback today, or actually pullback for this week. And we entered today, and I want to go over some of the things because it always becomes more difficult once you get that hourly setup here. The hourly setup is pulled back onto our trend line. We have this beautiful S&P cash trend line that touched. We actually flushed through it a little and then gave us a nice candle, reversal candle. We started pushing back up, and this is something that has been working constantly in the market. These patterns playing out, understanding where to get into the right pattern and stuff. And right now, this is what we're looking at. But as you know, over the last few videos, I've been really pushing, for the market to pull back further. And going into today, I still feel that's a good possibility, but we have to remember that the 60-minute time frame, there's multiple rotations in the 60-minute time frame as we establish a bigger trend. So an example back here is when we were looking back here, if we take a look at actually let's go to the daily here. We take a look at the daily, and I know there's a lot of crap up here, but you can see the daily here is pushing back from overbought and really spread out here wide, and trying to get back down into an oversold level. We haven't had this set up in only a few times over the last year. Over back here, each one of these levels has given us a tremendous bounce in the market. So the one here, 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 and here. So we're not quite there yet. And what we normally see in a pullback like this, and we'll use this example of this pullback before we crossed over, as you will get those bounce backs. You will get a 2-day down, maybe a move back up into the candle, consolidation, a follow through to the downside, maybe a follow through before really setting up again oversold or crossing back over or just completing a pattern. So this is part of that process, and you have to understand that. Don't get, I know it's a juggling act with the shorts and the longs if you're trying to play both sides of the table here. So what we're doing here is we're actually understanding that the market is in a bounce phase here, and I expect this to bounce, rotate back up, and expect it to fail. Maybe we get all the way back into overbought levels, or maybe we fail. If we fail, then it's telling me something a little bit, the market's a little bit more weaker than the average rotation. If we get back up there, we're probably going to stay within this channel and do exactly what we did back here. Because if we look at the daily, again, we look at that daily one more time, we see that last pullback here. We had a couple days. If we go back and just say, all right, here's the pullback. It happened, or the bounce back. But the stochastics were very negative here. They were negative in the process of rotating further down, yet we have the bounce. And that bounce happened on the 10th and the 11th. So if we go break this down on the 60-minute time frame, go back to the 10th and 11th back here, you'll actually see that we came down to a trend line. We were oversold on the 60, which gave us that daily 60, and then what happened was we rotated back up. We rotated and moved back up, and we got pretty much back into an overbought level, and then rotated back down. The daily stochastics were continued to be negative. So we had that, and everything played out perfectly. So that's what we're actually in the process of doing right now. We're getting that initial bounce on the stochastic. I expect it to get back up here. Maybe we get a little bit further. There's a decent pivot area up here. Gives us a nice parallel trend line. This one is really setting up. I mean, it's a very, a rough draft of this. I didn't measure everything out 100%, but you could see that this is what's going to happen. And now what we're watching here is kind of just, understand that there's a good shot that we actually break down here again and continue to move down, but maybe not happen today. But we are starting to prepare for it again. We did great on the shorts this week, and you've just recently back on the show today here, just got back into a couple other ones. There's some great setups out there, but that's what I just want to give you a little market update, what I'm expecting. So this is a good day for a bounce. We could get a little further move higher. Maybe even tomorrow get a little further move higher, but I think overall we're going to break back down and complete that bigger pattern that's playing out on the daily. I think this pattern will play out a little bit on the daily. We have some levels underneath us and whatever. Anyway, it is a Wednesday. Stop by Day Trading Radio, daytradingradio.com. We're broadcasting the markets live every single day, all day, and even overnight. And just a little promotion for tonight's show. There's going to be a fantastic show. Stock Jock and Roll will be doing their after-hour show. And that's happens at 9 o'clock. There are going to be, all kinds of topics. One of the topics you might want to be interested in is trading for a living with a small account. What are the principles of that? Also, keep it simple. Trading strategies. There was many other things on the list. They're going to be going over stocks. They're going to have some guests. They're going to be talking about the Robinhood no commission broker. They're going to be listening to an interview on that. So a lot of great stuff. Starts at 9 o'clock tonight. But don't forget, the show goes all the way through to 4 o'clock and beyond. And we'll see you later. All right, Johnny's out, and it is lunchtime.